there's a sorrow that I have about it every day. There's the sound of the building coming down, the sound of people screaming when the building is coming down that are in my head that I can't get rid of. At that time, I was in a senior role at CNA Insurance in downtown Chicago, and I lived in Aurora, Illinois. Virtually every insurance company in the country, maybe in the world, had offices there at the Trade Center. In August, I got asked to go to a meeting on this particular day, and there were 54 of us that were in that meeting, the host included. Only 7 out of the group of 54 survived that day in that meeting. The meeting was supposed to start at 8:30. No insurance meetings ever start on time. This one didn't start on time, and at about 8:46, we noticed the lights were flickering. We were in an internal conference room, so there were 4 walls with no windows and 1 door. So we didn't see anything. We didn't feel anything. We didn't hear anything. We just saw this flicker of lights. One of the guys from the company that we were visiting came into the room, told us that we had to evacuate. And he took us over to the nearest fire stairwell at 105 and told us, yeah, you're going to walk down 105 flights of steps. What a bunch of happy campers. Woo! And everybody did pretty much had the same reaction. They all reached for their cell phone. We were going to call somebody to moan and groan about the fact that we couldn't have our meeting. We'd come all the way there, and now all of a sudden we couldn't have our meeting. And it was interesting because cell service was gone. And you knew more about what was going on outside and inside those buildings than any of us that were right there. We didn't have a clue, not a clue.
Live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers.
And because we were at 105, which at that time was the highest occupied level of the building, you're the last coming down. There's nobody behind you. There's no mad rush of people pushing behind you to go. There's nobody running. You can't run down steps that go back and forth like this, switchback steps that go back and forth. When we got down to the 90th floor, the fire stairwell door, which all of them should automatically close in an emergency if they were even open, but this one was propped open, and everybody from the fire stairwell that I'm in are filing out of the fire stairwell and onto the 90th floor. I followed everybody. I know I experienced the worst 30, 40 seconds of my life there. That's the chance we had for the first time to look out the windows to the north and to see this unbelievable sight. Huge black holes through the sides of that building. Gray and black billows of smoke pouring up the side of the building and out of those holes and up the side, and red flames, redder than any red I had ever seen before, licking up the side of that building and up beyond the roof at the top level. And you see all that. And it was a crystal clear day that day in New York City. And I remember being able to see through that smoke, through that fire, into the huge black holes in the building and seeing pieces of the fuselage of a large plane lodged inside the building. And I remember, my God, I'm thinking to myself, my God, how did the pilot not see that building? How did he miss the building? Well, he didn't miss. He did exactly what he was set out to do. He didn't miss. You see all that. You see the furniture, the paper, the people being pulled out of the building against their will. Awesome, gruesome sight. And I was so afraid, so afraid. Had that pit of my stomach, I want my mommy feeling. I just wanted to go home. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to go home. And I don't know, there were people on that floor at that point. They were screaming at the top of their lungs, and yet they seemed to be frozen there, whether they were frozen in fear, mesmerized by what they saw. I'm looking at this thinking, this isn't a made-for-TV movie. This isn't an Xbox game. This is reality.
It's got to be a terrorist attack. I can't tell you anything more than that. I saw the plane hit the building.
By now, the world was watching as flames took hold, but even then, few expected this was about to become worse, much, much worse.
I got back to the top of the fire stairwell. They were making an announcement over the PA system, something to the effect of, the event has been contained to the North Tower. We believe the South Tower is safe. If you think about the circumstance, it made a lot of sense. There's somebody, a woman or a man, in charge of building security. They're probably down at the lobby level of the building at this point in time. There's a cop on the right side. There's a firefighter on the left side. There were as many as 25,000 people in each of those buildings. And I'm sure these cops and firefighters are looking at this in-charge person saying, you can't let them out. It's raining concrete, steel, and bodies outside. Where are you going to put 25,000 people? Got down to the 78th floor. The 78th floor was a sky lobby. I got down there, the woman that invited me to the meeting screaming at me to go to the elevator with her, and something blessed made me make the right decision at that moment. And I thought, yeah, and she's screaming and she's waving for me to come, and I just kind of waved politely back at her and turned around and went back to the fire stairwell. Best decision I've made in what is still my life. I was somewhere between the 74th and the 72nd floor when the second plane went through our building. And that plane went through our building between floors 77 and 83. We were just a few short stories below that strike zone. This fire stairwell, this concrete bunker, right, that you're inside of, it starts to shake so violently back and forth in ways that it shouldn't be shaking. And the concrete starts spidering out, and the handrails are breaking away from the wall, and the steps are like waves in the ocean, undulating underneath your feet. We feel this heat ball blowing by us. We smell this jet fuel, and this thing keeps rocking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It felt like forever. Maybe it was seconds, maybe a minute. And then it finally settles. And you kind of would think that there would be this craziness, this massive pandemonium in that stairwell. Nothing but a stunned silence. We all pretty much did the same thing again. We all grabbed for our cell phones, hoping to communicate. And like I had mentioned before, it was a blessing that they weren't working, because what we didn't know couldn't hurt us. We had no clue what actually was going on. We played the conjecture game. Oh, we saw a plane in the other building. Oh, a fuel cell exploded. That's why we smelled that jet fuel and felt that heat ball. No way did we think that a plane had also gone through our building. So you really just become concentrating on one thing, getting out. And then we started to approach the 35th floor. And that's the chance we had for the first time to encounter the cops, the firefighters, and the paramedics from New York City and the Port Authority. And they knew that they were going up, and they knew that they were never going to come back. I don't know how you can be that brave. I don't know how one can be so strong. You know, when we got down to the lobby level outside the fire stairwell, you're looking out the glass windows and you're seeing what looked like the vestiges of war. Crumbled concrete, twisted steel. And yeah, they couldn't let us out at the street level because it was raining concrete and steel and bodies.
Nightmares, Armageddon right here.
So they took us down into the concourse, the underground level of the World Trade Center complex. That's the chance we had for the first time to see people in real need, missing limbs, gaping wounds. And you're in this rat maze of a concourse with all these corridors, every fast food restaurant known to mankind, every retailer known to mankind down there. And you just have no clue. And this one kid in the front of our little group said, hey, we want to get to the northeastern end of this complex because it's the furthest away from the buildings. The internal GPS said, yep, he's right. He's right. He's absolutely right. I'm following him. We get out of the building, they're bobcat bulldozing back everything. It's gruesome. And every uniform is screaming at you, run, 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 don't stop, don't stop. And we took off, and we were only 8 blocks away from the building, about 8 blocks north, 8 minutes. They're short blocks in that southern section of Manhattan. And came across a commercial laundry. The doors were thrown wide open. WINS, the all-news radio station, blaring out that this was an on-purpose terrorist attack. Our jaws just dropped to the ground. This doesn't happen in the States. This doesn't happen here. But I mentioned earlier that there are things that you keep forever. And this was one of those moments, because first you hear the crumbling concrete, the twisting steel of what once was the South Tower, the building that we had been in just 8-9 minutes earlier, coming to the ground.
Oh my God. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go.
And even more hauntingly, the sound of hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people on the streets of New York, all screaming the same blood-curdling scream all at the same time. And it's the first thing I hear in the morning. It's the last thing I hear at night every day. Doesn't go away. Doesn't go away. Made the 16-hour trip back to Aurora, Illinois, which was a suburb of Chicago that I lived in at the time. When I was 10-15 minutes away from home, called my wife for the 50th time and said, hey, I'm almost there. 10-15 minutes away, she said, okay. And I said, there was a hesitancy. What's going on? And she said, well, they decided to have a special mass at church. And I said, you know what? Before she even finished the sentence, I said, you know what? It's a good day to go to church. It's a pew where we always sit. We're Roman Catholics. We sit in the same pew all the time, right? And there's my wife and a couple of my kids and my friends. And to see this quiet woman jump over the back of the pew, run to the back of the church, give me the greatest hug and a kiss a guy could ever want. That was the moment I knew I was home. I was home.
Passing every red light, I know I'm in over my head.